What's up, man? Okay, so you need a yoga block, right? Yoga block, and then a surface to where you can put your legs up on. So here, right? I'm gonna turn this a little bit so you can see me. There. Okay, so you want to make sure you can get your hips on the floor, but your legs are up high enough to where you want your right angle at your hip and at your knee. So you're just gonna start here, right? Lay here and just breathe. So this relaxes those hip flexors because I know your hip flexors are pretty tight. So I'm just gonna lie here this way. Take a few deep breaths. This takes about 10 minutes. What you need is some sort of stopwatch. You need a 1 minute timer. Okay, so I'm gonna set mine for a minute and I'm just gonna sit here and breathe for a minute. All right? Just taking a few deep breaths. And while you're here, you're going to do some kegling. So it's like, it's the muscles to stop going to the bathroom, like a butt wink, right? So you're gonna wink your bungholio, squeeze and then relax. Just winking, no glutes. You're not using your glute. It's not a glute contraction. It's just pelvic, almost like a pelvic floor lifting, like lifting up genitalia, right? So it's on and off. Good. It's a good practice to have, actually. Kegling protects the back. You get a little bit of abdominal. You can feel a little bit of like your abdominals working as you kegel, just a little bit, not too aggressive. All right, so that's a minute. Now you're going to do some pelvic tilting. So it's like you're taking an arch, put an arch in your back, and flattening it out, and just going back and forth. Just kind of move your hips around. This really loosens up the hip girdle and lower part of your spine. Right? So you do this for about a minute. Maybe do some rolling, roll the hip around, in like a clock fashion, right? All the way around from side to side, front to back. And continue to kegel. So the first part, it's a couple minutes. You actually want to do this laying on the floor for like 3 to 5 minutes, especially first thing in the morning, you get out of bed, you can do this. The whole thing probably only takes about maybe 15 minutes total, what I'm going to show you. And then there's more to it, and I'll add more to it. All right, so now the timer went off, so now you're going to just do glute contractions. So you're going to squeeze your butt together like this, squeeze your cheeks, boom, squeeze together and relax. So squeeze and relax. You're going to do that for a minute. Okay? Squeeze for 2 seconds and then relax. Squeeze for 2 seconds and relax. What this does is balance out the tension from your inner and outer thighs. All right? Squeeze and relax. So you want to do this without lifting your hips up off the floor. Right? So your back is always on the floor. So what this does is the gravity is helping you stay in perfect alignment. On the floor, of course, the floor has got you perfectly aligned. And squeezing on and off. 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off. And that's for a minute. So have your timer going on for a minute. There's a minute. Grab your yoga block and you're going to put it between your knees this way. So like this, not totally wide like that, but it's a little thinner like that, okay? And now you're gonna squeeze your inner thighs. Squeeze for 2 seconds and then relax. Squeeze for 2 seconds and then 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off, right? Squeeze. And this is, you're not trying to, crush this thing. It's very subtle squeezes. It's not trying to, not like a workout kind of squeeze, not like, like you're going to tone your inner thighs kind of thing. You're just balancing out some tension from your strength from your inner and outer thighs. So it's just squeeze your knees around this thing, and it's upper inner thighs, which you're going to squeeze. So way up by your hip creases. Squeeze for 2 seconds and then relax. So you're gonna do this for 2 rounds, actually for 3 rounds. You're gonna do all that for a total of 3 rounds a piece. So it's 6 minutes, okay? So glute contractions for a minute, block squeezes for a minute, back and forth, 3 rounds, okay? And then you're gonna take your arms into the floor, like a couple of goal posts. And you're gonna take your shoulder blades and you're gonna subtly squeeze them together without moving your shoulders, just your shoulder blades, right? So your shoulders shouldn't be lifting off the ground. You shouldn't be lifting them up or down, towards your ears. They're always away from your ears, squeezing between the shoulder blades, and it's the rhomboid. So if you get so crazy and you want to look at an anatomy book, you're actually flexing and relaxing your rhomboids, and it's very subtle. So you're squeezing on and off. And this is for another minute. I'm going to start my clock for another minute. You're only going to do this for a minute. Squeeze and relax. This is really good for your posture. So you're strengthening your postural muscles and intrinsic postural muscles next to the spine while you're in this perfect alignment. And so when you stand up, those muscles will be strong, and it'll keep you aligned. It'll keep you in this alignment, like you're lying on the floor, which no one stays in this alignment because we work at computers, drive, our heads tilted forward. We're just a mess. All right, so this is going to be really good to keep you upright. So it's a minute there, and then the next minute you're going to clasp your hands together like that, hold them together, hold your fingers together, arms up over your head. Keep in contact with the floor with your shoulder blades. Keep the back of your ribs down. I'm just going to go up over your head about here and then come back down. So you really want to push the back of your ribs onto the floor as you lift your arms up over your head. Don't get to the point where you got to lift your chest, up off the floor. You get your arms back. You want to keep your ribs down and flat as you lift up over your head. So the lower part of your ribs down here, lower ribs pushed onto the floor, okay? Without lifting your hips up. This is for another minute. And this is about the cadence right here. This is how fast you want to go. It's not really fast, not really slow. It's just kind of in between, okay? The next one is you're going to take your knuckles, put them into your temples, thumbs down, start with your arms on the floor, and then you're going to elbow touch. Keep the shoulder blades in contact with the floor. Touch, and come all the way back down. One more minute of this. You want to keep your wrist straight, so as you're doing this, you want to just swivel like this in your arm, not like this in your wrist. Okay, just keep your wrist straight and you don't necessarily have to touch your elbows. They're just going towards each other. It's called an elbow touch, but you don't have to force anything to try to get them together. Once you start forcing things, then you negate the effects of the elbow touch. All right, that's for a minute. Then you're gonna get rid of the block, or whatever you're, scoot back from the couch or whatever you got your feet propped up onto. Now you're gonna do, this is called, all you're gonna do is breathe into your ribs. So take a deep breath into your ribs, expand your ribs, and then exhale and push all the air back out of your ribs by just exhaling and squishing your ribs around your lungs. You're going to do that for a minute, and then after that minute is over, you're going to do some pelvic tilts. So you're going to take your pelvis and turn it up, and then flatten out your back, and then get an arch in your back. But you want to do this again, like I said, from your low abs, not from driving with your glutes, with your butt. You want to do it all. It's called a low ab crunch. Right? So relax, and then crunch with your low abs. There. And crunch with your low abs. This is for another minute, okay? Now, the following minute is a one-leg leg lift. So you're going to take your leg, lift it up like this. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to move this tire out of the way. That looks better. Okay, now one leg at a time. We're gonna lift like this. Imagine you're lifting up a bucket of water with your toe. Okay, so it's a heavy bucket of water, right? So you're just lifting, leaving your back on the floor, don't let your pelvis tilt. And this is for your hip flexor, your hip crease. Just like this. 1 minute on one side, 1 minute on the other. Like you're lifting the handle of a bucket up, just like this. Make sure everything's in line. All right, you do that for a minute each side. Then you're gonna take your yoga block, put it in between your knees, thin ways, like that. Between your knees. Walk your feet back. Do a low ab crunch, so you bring your pelvis towards your pubic bone towards your belly button, and squeeze yourself up. So this is all glutes, right? So you don't use your low back at all. So you're squeezing up with your butt, taking your pelvis and turning it this way, like that. See how I'm doing it? Taking my pelvis and I'm turning it that way. Squeeze up. You do this for a minute. Do little contractions to get a little higher each time. So you shouldn't feel this in your low back at all. Zero in your low back. It's all glutes, hamstrings. You might get a little cramp in your hamstring. It's all right. Use more glutes if you feel getting a cramp. Squeeze the block in between your knees. Squeeze up. This is for your extension. So we worked on flexion with the leg lift, and this is your extension. After you do that for a minute, you're going to go back to the leg lift. You're going to do this thing 3 times, or actually 2 times. I'm sorry, 2 rounds. So you're going to do leg lift, bridge, and then leg lift and bridge. Okay? After you do that, you're going to, there's 2 different exercises here. So let's do this one, crossover. So you're going to take your right ankle, put it on top of your left knee, and you're going to just tilt over to the side. Like that. Boom. Put your right foot on the floor, squeeze your butt, and then open up this hip. Okay? So you're going to do this for a minute. All right, I'll show it to you on the other side. So you take your ankle, put it right on top of your knee, and then you're going to put your arms out to the side, tip over, boom, like that. Push your foot into the floor, and you're going to squeeze your butt to open up this hip right here. So you're pushing your knee away from you. So you're lengthening out your leg, pushing into your knee, right? You're going to do that a minute on each side. Right? After you do a minute on each side, there goes my timer. You're going to come back up. Hands and knees, this way. Put your hands right underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips. You're going to arch and then tuck your tail first. Tuck your tail. Let your spine just roll, and then you're going to let your head roll. Then you're going to take your hips, crease your hips like that, and let it roll back up. It's called cat-dog stretch or cat-cow. And tuck your hips back and forth. Okay? Let your hips drive the movement, not your head. Really squeeze, tuck your belly button up, squeeze your butt. Back and forth. This should feel like your spine is super smooth now. It should be just like back and forth, nice and smooth. Right? Then you can do whatever you like. So you can go work out, do your workout, whatever that might be. Took maybe, 10 minutes. I fast tracked it, but it's about 10, 15 minutes at the most. And then you're ready to go. You can, get up and go to work if you want. All right, so there it is. And there'll be more. This program will be more and more advanced after you do this for a little while. All right, there it is. Have fun.